Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French. We are going to start off with a 14 News update on a 39-year-old cold case. This is out of DuBois County. Now we are learning who was charged and the punishment they face. So according to an affidavit, a janitor found a baby boy in a bag while sorting through trash at the Academy Immaculate Conception back in 1987. 4 decades, no one knew why the baby was there, but thanks to some new DNA testing, investigators have learned it was the baby's mother who left it there. Records say 56-year-old Alexandra Gawant was a student at the school and told police that she gave birth to the baby in a bathroom stall and then threw away the body. Now, Gawant says that the school called her home after the baby's discovery, but she lied about knowing anything. According to court records now, her murder charge was dropped after she pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter, and her 6-year prison sentence was suspended to probation. A story we brought you not long ago, so we are now learning some more details there. Let's bring things back to the west side of Evansville now, where the Westside Nut Club has handed out nearly $500,000 to the community so far just this year. Now, during last night's meeting, the group approved donations to at least 28 schools and other organizations across the Evansville area. Nut Clubbers say this is all made possible because of the support of the Fall Festival and that huge half pot. And they say more giving is still to come. If you want your organization to be considered, there is a link to submit a request on 14news.com. There's also a full breakdown of where those funds are all going. Now, America is approaching its 250th birthday this year. We've been counting down in our newscast, and get this, a local spot has been recognized by the Smithsonian Magazine. Now, a group named Owensboro's Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame Museum has one of their top 250 places to celebrate America. Officials say the museum was selected for its role in preserving and celebrating the legacy of bluegrass music. Mammoth Cave and Buffalo Trace Distillery also made the list for the Commonwealth. All right, we of course have got some nice warm temperatures out there, but we are on alert tomorrow for some storms. So do not go anywhere. I'm going to turn you over to 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory for a check at your forecast.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices.
Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and as Jamie mentioned before, tomorrow is a First Alert weather day. We're on alert for the possibility of a few severe storms. There is a damaging wind, hail, and tornado threat all present if these storms manage to become severe tomorrow. So that's something we'll be watching very closely as we go through the day tomorrow. We actually have 2 potential rounds of storms tomorrow, and we'll dig into the details on the timing in just a second. Today is actually really nice. It has been partly to mostly cloudy. This is a live look at the Evansville riverfront. Notice the flags there just snapping in the breeze. That wind is coming from the south, so even though today is mostly cloudy, it's also very mild. thanks to the fact that it is breezy and that wind is pushing warm air in from the south. Tomorrow will still be very mild and breezy, but that warm air is part of what is then feeding our thunderstorm chances on Thursday. Thursday, as I said, is a first alert weather day for the possibility of a few severe storms that may be capable of producing damaging winds, hail, or even a tornado. And then behind the cold front bringing us this chance of storms, we see this big drop in our temperatures as we head into the weekend, and our highs are going to drop back into the 30s and 40s this weekend and into the start of next week. Here's a current look at satellite and radar. We had a few sprinkles down in western Kentucky earlier today. We're dry across the tri-state right now. Still mostly cloudy across Kentucky. You get a little more sunshine as you head farther north and northwest. It is going to stay kind of partly cloudy but mostly dry through the rest of this afternoon. We may catch a stray sprinkle at some point this evening or overnight tonight, but most of us will stay dry. The clouds do thicken back up overnight. Tomorrow is going to be mostly cloudy. We may catch an isolated shower at some point Thursday morning, but most of us will stay dry up until about midday. As we start to approach 11 o'clock, noon-ish, somewhere right in that window on Thursday, we'll start to see these storms developing over southern Illinois and pushing east into the tri-state. So Illinois, by about lunchtime tomorrow, those of you in our southeast Illinois counties could start to see some of these thunderstorms. Now, this first round of storms, it seems, is then going to push to the northeast and will be mainly on the northern end of the tri-state. So these storms, again, moving through right in the middle of the day, so the timeline has moved up a little. Looks like these storms will be moving through during the lunch hour and into early Thursday afternoon, but then those storms push off to the northeast. Now, some of the models are still showing some scattered rain in here Thursday afternoon. Others, like this one, give us a bit of a break. So we've got storms possible from about 11 o'clock or noon up till about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. That's round one. Another round of showers and storms will then start to develop in Illinois sometime later Thursday, probably closer to 4 or 5 p.m. That's the second round of rain. As that pushes from west to east, there's a better chance we could get rain across the whole tri-state then, so that's where western Kentucky starts to come into the picture. But notice we're not seeing a lot of red showing up in this model here. I think these storms will probably be a little weaker. There's a lesser chance of severe weather with that second round, but still that potential is there depending on how much energy is in the atmosphere, that then Thursday evening we could see another round of showers and possibly some thunderstorms pushing through the tri-state, and then those will work their way off to the east and out of our region by about 11 o'clock, maybe midnight at the latest. So again, 2 possible rounds of storms, one in the afternoon from about lunchtime to 2 or 3 in the afternoon, mainly on the northern end of the tri-state, but that's actually our better chance of severe weather, is those earlier storms. The second round of storms would be from about 4 or 5 p.m. up until about 11 o'clock at night. That rain could really reach anywhere in the tri-state, but I think that's a lower severe weather threat in comparison to those earlier storms. Now let's look at our severe risk. Most of the tri-state sitting at this level 2 risk for scattered strong to severe storms. As you head a little farther south, that risk becomes more isolated in parts of western Kentucky, because again, it really looks like the greater risk of severe storms is with that earlier round, and that would be mainly on the northern end of the tri-state and areas to our north as well. If you look at this area highlighted in yellow here, notice the tri-state's kind of on the southern end of that. Really, the center of the bullseye would be places more like Vincennes over toward Washington and Lagodi, and then north as you head up toward places like Terre Haute and things like that. So this area just north of the tri-state is probably the more likely area to see severe weather tomorrow, but some of that could reach the tri-state as well, especially for those of you along and north of the I-64 corridor. I want to look more specifically at the individual threats now. So that's the overall storm risk. This is specifically the tornado risk. And again, it follows almost that same area there, but this area highlighted in green, that's a 5% risk of tornadoes, and then the brown is a 2% risk. So overall, the risk is low, but the potential is there that if things come together just right, we could see a couple of these thunderstorms grow to the point that they may be capable of producing a tornado. So that's the tornado risk map. Let's look at the wind risk map. That one's drawn a little more broadly, and you'll notice the percentages go up as well. The area in green there, a 5% risk, and then most of us included in this 15% risk of seeing damaging winds. Looking at the hail risk now, looks very similar to the wind risk map. Again, most of us sitting in this 15% risk. It does drop down to a 5% risk as you get down into western Kentucky. As for the heavy rain threat, I want to point out that it really looks like even any moderate rainfall would mainly be just north of the tri-state. We're all highlighted in this bright green color here, which means generally we're looking at a ½ inch of rain or less from this system. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of moisture within this storm system, and also the rain itself will be scattered. You know, sometimes when these cold fronts roll through, you end up with this large line of storms that kind of blows through and everybody gets soaking rainfall. That's not going to be the case this time. This isn't going to be some broad line of storms. These are going to be scattered individual storm cells. And so for that reason, some of you may actually not get any rain at all on Thursday. That's possible. Whereas others, if you get an individual storm cell that really taps into the energy available and really grows and develops, it could become a supercell capable of producing damaging winds, hail, or even a tornado. So again, not concerned about flooding tomorrow just because it doesn't seem like these storms are going to have a whole lot of moisture, and we're not expecting widespread extended rainfall. These are going to be very scattered, kind of almost spotty thunderstorms that pop up across the tri-state. With that in mind though, again, there is the potential that those storms could become strong or even severe. If they do, we've got a 5 to 15% risk of damaging winds and hail, and then a 2 to 5% risk of tornadoes. And again, the greater risk is on the northern end of the tri-state. Here's another way to look at that same kind of information here. Not concerned about flooding on Thursday, but we do have this just kind of low to medium risk for damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. Again, this is very conditional. These storms will be scattered, so not everyone will even get a storm, and of those storms, not all of them will be severe. So overall, I think our severe threat is kind of isolated, but if you happen to get caught under that storm that becomes severe, you could be looking at hail, damaging winds, or even a tornado. So definitely something to consider and keep in mind as we go through the day tomorrow. So just to kind of wrap up everything I just said, I do think we could potentially see 2 rounds of thunderstorms. The first one from about lunchtime through 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Those storms would be mainly on the northern end of the tri-state, but those storms are also our better chance at seeing severe weather. The second round of storms would be later in the day, probably closer to 4 or 5 p.m., running up through about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. That round of storms could hit anywhere in the entire tri-state, but with that, I think those storms also present a lower risk of severe weather. That's part of why you see that severe weather risk starting to drop off as you get into western Kentucky, because western Kentucky most likely won't get hit by that first round of earlier storms, and that's where I think we see our primary severe weather threat, although I wouldn't rule out an isolated severe storm within that second round as well. With any storms that develop tomorrow, there is that potential that they could gain enough strength and intensity that they may be capable of producing damaging winds, hail, or even a tornado. So make sure you have a way to receive warnings wherever you're going to be tomorrow afternoon and evening, and make sure you know where to go and what to do wherever you are. If you're out and about, make sure you familiarize yourself with the tornado safe space where you are, just so you do know where to go and seek shelter if it comes to that. Again, overall, our severe risk is kind of spotty. Not everyone is going to get severe weather tomorrow. Some people may not even get rain tomorrow. That's how scattered it's going to be, but there is that potential. We just don't know where for sure that storm could pop up and gain intensity and become that dangerous severe storm. So just something to keep in mind there. Keeping an eye on the comments here. Good afternoon, Jeff, Cindy, Amy. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you do have any questions as we go along, please ask those in the comment section on the Facebook video, and I'll do my best to answer them. Kind of part two of the impacts from the cold front bringing us these storms on Thursday is going to be this huge change in our temperatures. I can't believe we still have not hit 70. It is 69 right now in Evansville. We hit 69 one other day this year. And I thought we would get to 70 today, but I thought we would be at 70 by now. So maybe we won't. But I think this is going to end up being our first 70 of the year. We do have some 70s out in Mount Vernon, Fairfield, Mount Carmel, and Oakland City right now. But the point is, it feels like spring out there. These temperatures are more typical of April than February. And that's despite the fact that we haven't had a ton of sunshine today. It's not like we have clear blue skies and sunshine to warm us up. The wind is really what's putting in the work here. We've got this warm air just flowing in from the southwest, pulling warm southerly air up into the tri-state. And that's what's pushing our temperatures into those upper 60s or maybe even low 70s in some locations. Now we are getting pretty close to our high for the day. This is kind of the warmest time of day right now. Our temperatures will gradually start to fall back through the 60s this evening, then through the 50s as we get into the night tonight. By the end of the night, we'll eventually bottom out somewhere in the lower 50s. There will be a few clouds overhead. I wouldn't rule out a stray sprinkle, but it's going to be mostly dry. Then tomorrow, still very mild, very breezy. We've got that wind still pumping in from the southwest, pushing our temperatures into the upper 60s to around 70 again tomorrow. But we do have that chance of thunderstorms Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. And so that's where that first alert weather day comes into play. So tomorrow, up until the point it starts storming, is going to be a really beautiful day. Then we've got that chance of thunderstorms as we get into the afternoon and evening. And that's along a cold front. And you're really going to feel the impacts of that cold front as we get into the weekend. Our wind direction shifts and all of a sudden sharply colder air starts to filter into the tri-state. Friday, our highs will only be in the lower 50s. Then we're looking at the 40s on Saturday. Coldest weather of the next 7 days will probably be Sunday into Monday. That's when we're looking at highs in the mid to upper 30s, lows dipping into the 20s. By Tuesday, though, our wind direction starts to shift again. Warmer air starts to flow back into the tri-state, and we'll start to climb back into the 40s and then the 50s as we go through the middle of next week. The extended outlook then from Thursday, February 26th through next weekend shows a trend back toward above average temperatures, along with near to maybe slightly above average precipitation. We are still outlooked for the potential for some heavy rain, along with an outlook for the potential for some gusty winds as we get into the end of next week. So something that we'll be monitoring there as we get into the second half of next week and toward next weekend. We may see another round of heavy rain and maybe some gusty winds along with that as well. Oh, I forgot to move my alert day. So that has shifted over now from yesterday to today. So that first alert weather day, again, is for Thursday, not Friday. Tomorrow is when we have that risk of thunderstorms in the evening. Then our temperatures gradually drop, and we're looking at highs noticeably colder than with highs in the 30s and 40s this weekend and into the start of next week before we start to warm back up. But with that warmer weather, we also see some breezy conditions and some rain chances moving back into the forecast for the second half of next week as well. All right. Jeff Miller says they just hit 70 in Savah. That's good to know. I'm hoping we hit Evansville at the hit 70 in Evansville at the airport so that the official, record books will say 70, but we'll have to wait and see. And Carol says she can already feel the pressure is starting to change, feeling those impacts on her body there. Thank you, David. I appreciate you saying that. I'm not seeing any more questions. If there are any questions about the forecast, 14 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will have an updated look at these really big temperature changes as well as that risk of thunderstorms and the First Alert weather day on 14 News tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10. And he'll have another streaming show for you tonight at 9. So if you do have any questions, you can drop those in the comment section of the Facebook video tonight at 9, and Jeff will answer those for you then. All right, everybody, enjoy the nice, comfortable temperatures we have out there right now, but make sure you have a way to receive warnings wherever you're going to be Thursday afternoon and evening so that you're prepared for that potential that we could see some very scattered severe weather on Thursday. So just make sure that you are prepared for that possibility Thursday afternoon. Everybody have a great rest of your day.